Are you a home grower looking for a little bit of help? Are you ready to learn as much as you can about your favorite hobby? The Homegrown Helpers brings you informative interviews from experienced growers that have taken the next steps in their journey and decided to help you grow top quality cannabis all in your home. Now welcome in our host, Rob Smith, along with this week's Homegrown Helper. Hey buds, are you ready for more grow tips and tricks from this week's Homegrown Helper? Yes, me too. But first we have a little housekeeping. I know this has gotten a little long, so I just want to quicken this up and make sure that you know how important the subscribe, ratings, and reviews are for this podcast. I know I ask for it every week, but I can't stress it enough how much that simple move makes for this podcast. It's really paramount to our success and how we reach more people. So please make sure you subscribe, share, rate, and review at your earliest convenience. Secondly, I need to open up the information a little bit more about mygrowpass.com. So this is the collaboration between Jordan from Growcast and myself as the executive producer over there and the host of this podcast, and something coming up soon called Homegrown Journals. But essentially, this is a way to get more growing content, deep discounts with many industry-leading providers of hydroponic equipment, as well as quarterly drawings that are creeping up over $5,000 in value. So we haven't determined exactly how we're going to break these out yet, so stay tuned for that. But we will be launching June 15th for you to be able to sign up as a founding member of mygrowpass.com. Don't go there yet, but you'll be able to get more information at both homegrownhelpers.com and growcastpodcast.com. So if you're interested in saving money, interested in learning more, interested in getting exclusive access to Wolfman, Jordan, Travers, myself, and some AMAs and some direct learning from Wolfman, the show pro over at Growcast, this is the opportunity for you to get this. And honestly, the value that we provide with the discounts is so amazing that this founding price is not going to last long. We think we're going to end up around $18 a month for this premium level membership. And that gets you deep, like super deep discounts with some amazing vendors like So Hum Living Soils, Vivid Grow, of course, Atlas Plant Trainer, Rooted Life. Danny Danko is going to sign your book at the premium level if you choose to buy one. We have Fish Head Farms, Vivid Grow, so many more that are going to give you giveaways, discounts, more things than you can imagine for that $18 a month or wherever we land in right around there. So you'll hear more about this in the middle of the show because it's super important. This is how we're going to be able to continue to provide you this value week after week after week and bring you some really amazing stuff. We have some live events planned for our members and access to guests that you've never had before. So the last thing on my list before we get into the interview real quick is just to make sure that if you are in the market for a homegrown helper, your own consultant, reach out to us at thehomegrownhelpers@gmail.com. And I just created my own email address. It's rob@thehomegrownhelpers.com. Make sure you email one of those if you like what you hear from one of our consultants here, and we will make an introduction to the right consultant that's going to help you with your job. Now let's bring in this week's guest, Michael Travers. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Where are you from and how long have you been growing cannabis?
I am from northern Colorado. I've been here for, I want to say about 6 years now, and I've been, in the cannabis industry for about 5 years, I want to say. Doing it full time, like, at least 40 plus hours a week. So it's been a full-time job for me, and it's been good.
Awesome. So what did you do in the cannabis industry before you started Start to Finish?
I was just more or less just honing my craft, research and development, finding out what worked. I took a very scientific, analytical point of view for it. So I was just trying to figure out what would work for me and what works for the cannabis plant and how everything affects how the plant grows. And then I mean, that's basically what I was doing until I started Start to Finish.
Great. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Everybody's got their own unique setup, and figuring out how to make yours work is really key to the success of your grow. So
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, it depends on what you really want out of your grow. And people strive to have it successful when it's their like little baby, it's like their thing. So it's like, whatever you want to do with your garden, you can do with your garden, and just figure out what works for you.
and that's what we're here to help them with. So, Michael, why don't you tell us about your current grow setup? What's the size and the number of plants you got going on?
I mean, there's several different grows that we got going. I generally like to keep the rooms like close to like 12 lights to like 10 lights, somewhere in there. Like that's like a good size number, just based on the fact of cooling and just like heat and all the environmental issues that come with having a bigger room. You have to like either have more AC units, pull more air in, or supplement your lights with more like LED lights in order to get the heat down if you're going to have a bigger room. Smaller rooms are a little bit easier to control, but I generally shoot for this 12 light size. If not, I like to do a lot of like 4 to 6 light size. Those are like a little bit easier to maintain, I feel, and you can just keep it a little bit cleaner and just more organized, I feel. That's like a big thing I've been striving for.
Let's pick one room and dive a little deep into that.
Okay.
What type of lights do you run? How many plants are in there? That type of thing.
Okay. So I'm switching over to LEDs whenever I can. So there's a lot of rooms that still have, the traditional HPS single bulbs. We have a few rooms that have higher ceilings that we would just put the double endeds in. That's the one downside to using double ended, is you really need that height to go up. So for home grows, it's usually not a great option. I see a lot of home grows that, oh yeah, these double endeds are the best. Like I gotta get them, and then they get them, and the heat penetration is just insane in their basement. And it's just like, all right, well, you gotta have like 2-foot tall plants in order to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on your room, but I would definitely go towards the double endeds. They're a good price for what they are, and they cover, a good 5x5 to maybe even 6x6 area. And the LEDs are just a bit expensive. So if I were to do my ideal room, it's obviously with these LEDs. You can run your room a little bit hotter. So like your AC isn't going to matter as much, especially because the LEDs put off less. But I run my LED rooms close to like 86 degrees, and that's with the leaf surface temperature of the plant. It's about where you want to run it. But with HID, you got to go a bit lower in order to make your plant happy.
Okay. So enough about what you got going on. Let's dive right into the cannabis education side. What, in your opinion, is the single highest leverage strategy for overall plant health? What's the one thing that a grower needs to be paying attention to?
So I think this is a hard question, but I think it has to do with your application. Basically, like if you're in soil, you can't overwater. So that's like a big downside. Like a lot of people, it goes both ways. Some people want to water all the time. They think that that's like, oh yeah, I'm going to water today, like every day. It's good to go. But if you're in soil, you're going to see overwatering and you're going to have a problem. With cocoa or like rock wool, a lot of people still have this common misconception that you have to let it dry out. You can't do that or you'll overwater your plant. But in cocoa and rock wool, from what I've seen, is that you could water that 3-4 times a day and it won't show symptoms of overwatering. So, that's one thing that I've really been striving for. I'm in cocoa, so watering every single day has really drastically increased the health of my plants. For whatever reason, a lot of people say that it has to do with the salts that you're feeding these plants anyways. So like if your soil medium dries up, like at any rate, like, if you have like dry spots in your soil, the salts that you're feeding it with will actually like crystallize and just become basically worthless for your plant, and actually like detrimental actually to your plant being in your medium. So that's one thing that I think might equate to the whole watering every day thing. I've just noticed like when I water every day, the uptake of my plants is actually a lot more. Like I monitor the runoff, and for whatever reason, even though I'm watering them more often, I'm using more nutrients. I'm really not seeing the plants like spit that nutrients out when the runoff comes out. So whatever it is in cocoa, you got to water more. Rockwool, you got to water more. Hydro, obviously you're watering all the time.
Right.
But with soil, that's the one thing. You got to be on top of watering at the right point.
Cool. You mentioned potentially watering 3 to 4 times a day in cocoa. Have you experimented with that?
Yeah, so we've been experimenting with flood and drain quite a bit, just for the fact that you can let your nutrients stretch a lot longer. So like we have flood tables that drain into a reservoir, and basically 3 times a day during the on cycle, like when the lights are on, I'll have a pump this water onto the tray, and the plants will suck it up through the bottom of the pots. And it'll happen 3 times a day. And those are, some of the healthier plants. So, it's just results, seeing it happen and just being like, oh, wow, this is obviously what I should be doing,
It's part of the fun.
Yeah. And it's also got its up and downs too. Like, you can get root rot easier, but as long as you're using like an enzyme and, staying on top of being clean, that's like another hard thing with the flood and drain is just keeping everything clean as you can. I've been trying to just be way more on top of general cleanliness of the rooms, because that always makes, that makes a difference in your grow in the end, whether people believe it or not. It's very minute sometimes, but it's good to have a clean grow than not.
That is the case. That is the truth. So Michael, what is the single highest leverage thing that a grower can do to increase their yield on their plants?
So, it's just the due diligence, I want to say, because the few people that I have been consulting for, like, it seems like the more common problem that these people have is like just not being able to go to their grow at the right times, and like have to delay their visit by a day or something, and then they come back and their plants are all dry, or this, that, or the other, and just it leaves you open for mites, mildew, just anything, and more or less you just stress the fuck out of your plants. But I think just being on top of it is probably the number one thing, because a lot of the growers I'm consulting for just have that problem where they lose their whole crop because of some stupid thing. That's why I like the flood and drain as well. Like, I can leave for multiple days, besides the general maintenance like pruning or trimming up your plant or whatever, trellising, all this other stuff. Your plant will still be there. It'll be watered and it'll be alive when you get back. So that's the most important thing, I feel. To increase your yield, I would want to say, obviously soil, I haven't seen people hit crazy numbers, but I know a few soil growers that can. But it seems like when people are starting in soil, they get some mediocre yields, they get really potent bud, which they always tend to like. And, like I said, if whatever works for your garden, if that's what you want, then that's what you get. But I would say your nutrient regimen would have to do a lot with pushing those PKs during the right times and in flower, and just responding to your plant. Like if it's uptaking that stuff, you like loading more on, or if they're not taking it, just back off a bit and just ride it out. But I would say just being on top of it, honestly, because that's the whole name of the game. You're the one thing that literally keeps them alive. So if you're not there, you're not going to succeed.
Yes, sir. Staying on top of it. The situation where a grower can't make it to their grow on watering day is a really tough situation to be in. I wonder if there's an opportunity there for some people to hire a consultant like you to come in and just, hey, I can't water today. My regimen, come in and water for me,
Exactly.
If you're local.
I actually have a guy who I'm consulting for down the street from me that he's left for over a month now, and I've been watering his thing every day, and his plants look great. And I've been like sending him Snapchats. He's like, oh wow, dude, like you're doing a really great
They look
job.
better
Like, you're
than when
doing way
I'm
better than
taking
I
care of my
could.
plants, right?
Yeah, I'm like, well, I think I do this stuff.
Right.
So, but I mean, it's just saved him like insane amount of money and stress. Like, and he's like, dude, I'm gonna be gone for a month. Like, I got this job I gotta go to, and it's the same thing that everyone has a problem with. You know, if this isn't their full time job, they have stuff going on the side. So, I mean, it just happens to be my job, so I'm able to be there every single day.
Well, if you listen to this and you find yourself in that situation, reach out to us and we will find a grower, a consultant to come and help you take care of your plants in your absence. So, we can offer that service for you as well.
Yeah. The only hard thing about it is just the general area, because I mean, I offer a nanny service, but realistically, everyone that's kind of hit me up for consulting, if it hasn't been a personal referral, it is, quite a distance away. So it just doesn't end up working out. But if you can create a network of these consultants and, figure out where they're all at and find out where someone's at, you can maybe point them in the direction of that consultant.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're going with Grow Geek Show. I think also the important thing is for a new grower to find that consultant that speaks their language.
Yeah, that's true.
And really, they can jive with and they want to learn from, because this is somebody that they're going to be reaping a lot of knowledge from.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that is a good fit and a good match. So
that is very true as well. And I was also thinking about scrupulousness as well. Like, some consultants might not like have a background check on or whatever, what I'm saying?
Yeah. We don't want to be responsible for sending a hardened criminal into somebody's house to teach them how to grow. That's for sure. But we also are in the world of learning to grow cannabis, and we might have some of those people that do have some felonies on their background, teaching people how to grow. That's part of the game that we're in, I guess. So yeah, there's lots of things that we're going to try and do here, but we're very happy to have you and your knowledge on board, Michael. So let's keep this going.
Of course.
So we're going to take a quick break for our membership program partners, and I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what you get as a member. So Sweet Leaf Plant Nutrients, you're going to get 25% off and a chance to win $500 of nutrients every quarter. Gorilla Grow Tent, you'll get 10% off anything at their website, plus a chance to win a 4x8 grow tent. Newt Tools, you'll get probably 20% off. We haven't figured that part out yet. Atlas Plant Training, you'll get 25% off. Rooted Life, you'll get 20% off plus $250 in CBD products given away every quarter. Harvest Mutual Seed Bank, you can get 10% off any seeds on their website plus free shipping, and they're giving us 3 seed packs to give away every quarter. Danny Danko, as a premium member, you will get his book, if you order that, signed by the man himself. Greencraft Distribution represents brands such as Cushly's, Herb Natural, the Roots Platform. They're going to give us 25% off plus $500 worth of product to give away every quarter. A Humble Garden, which is an HP, it's a high pressure lens that goes over your phone camera to give you clear white pictures instead of yellow pictures out of your garden. They're giving us 25% off your entire order. Sohum Living Soils, they're giving us, I think, 20% off for members and 10 bags of soil to give away every quarter. We're working out some details with a lighting company called Vivid Grow. Fishhead Farms, we know we're on board. I don't have the specific member discount right now, but they're going to give away $500 worth of fish shit every quarter. Mammoth Microbes, we're not going to get a discount because they don't sell directly, but we're going to get $500 worth of Mammoth to give away every quarter. Plus, some of these partners have given us a small sample bottle or some packaging or some major discounts to give away to new premium members. So if you want more information, head on over to growcastpodcast.com or hit us up at thehomegrownhelpers.com and you can get that information. And it's also going to be at mygrowpass.com, mygrowpass.com. pass.com. And that is where you actually sign up for the membership program. So we're launching that June 15th. I haven't figured out the exact dollar values for these tiers yet, but honestly, the value that you get from these deep discounts will more than outweigh anything that you're going to have to pay to get access to this program. Oh, I forgot one more. Dealser.com, a full-blown hydroponic shop, has given us 15% off anything that you order on their website, and most of that stuff comes with free shipping already. So we have everything that you need to get growing in your grow room, to keep growing that top shelf cannabis that we're hoping that this podcast and Growcast helps you get to. Do you have any unique grow tips or tricks that you'd like to share with our audience?
So, I mean, when taking clones, I would say, like, I like to take the bottoms off my plant. They're going to be scraps anyways. I think that's usually a good tip because you're going to scrap those generally anyways. Sometimes I like to take a few cuts off the top and even my canopies. So, I mean, those end up being the better clones because they're like healthier top nodes, but they end up being they take a little bit longer to root because of, from what I've heard, the hormones of the plant. Like there's more hormones in the bottoms. The bottoms definitely root better. They're usually smaller cuts, but they end up taking off and doing well right off the bat. So I generally take the bottoms off that are wasted anyways. They're gonna, they're kind of holding you back from your plant from, really doing work. And then I even out the canopy at the top and take tops and clone those as well to help even out the canopy more and give you more of a little bit bushier plant. That's probably a good tip for home growers. I want to say like shot back is probably the biggest tip I can give you. I mean,
I wish somebody would have told me that when I started growing, man.
Yeah. When I found out about it, it was like, oh my God, what the hell have I been doing?
One of my friends who doesn't even grow was like, why don't you just use a shop vac for that? I'm like, where have you been for the last 2 years of my life?
Yeah, I think that one hits everyone like a revelation because that's exactly what happened to me. I was like, oh my God, this is game changing.
Right.
And then even getting like, there's a little mini pump. If your vac is about like 5 gallons or more, there's usually this little like circular knob at the bottom that you can actually attach a pump to. So like you vac it up and then you can just hit this switch and it'll pump it out to wherever you have this hose going.
Okay, Michael. So why don't you tell people what we're talking about? Because we're just talking shop vacs and like, why are we using these shop vacs?
So more or less, like when you have a plant, you want to give it runoff at least every once in a while, if you're not. But so you got this excess water that's sitting in your grow, either in trays or however you have it draining. So I mean, you got to get it out of there. A lot of people like don't really know how to get it out of there. I remember before I was in there with like a turkey baster, like trying to like suck this water up like a retard.
This is so you don't have to take your plants out of your tent every time you water it. You can just leave them in there, leave them on a tray, and suck the water out. So stop moving those plants when they're 5, 6, 7 weeks in flower and worrying about your buds flopping all over the place. So game changing tip right there.
I never really moved them out of the room, but I would go in there with a turkey baster and just suck up all the water I could. I mean, as long as your plants aren't sitting in that water for like 30 minutes or so, I think it's like they say 30 minutes plus, you'll start to develop root rot potentially, which I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just a warning, I guess. Like, don't do it. But I mean, I would just suck it up and then just like whatever and leave. But this vac just really changes the game. Like if you're wasting multiple hours like dealing with your runoff, just get a shop vac, dude. Like suck it up, dump it out, done deal.
Bingo.
And I also like it for the fact that you can easily test your runoff. Like sometimes you're in a room where you got a bunch of different plants, they're all uptaking differently. So like your runoff is going to be all over the place for all these different plants potentially. And you suck it all up into a vacuum. Well, I can go and test that water that I've sucked up from all the plants. So I get like a general number. So I can generally you know what I'm saying, the next time I water, I can get this other general number to put in next time.
There you go. What's one character trait that makes a successful grower?
Just reliability, I want to say, is going back to this one again. Reliability definitely has to be the number one thing. Just getting things done on time, like trimming up your plants by day 21 in flower, removing those nodes as quick as possible. Obviously, we mentioned the watering. You got to be on top of that. And, taking stuff down when it needs to be taken down, trimming stuff up when it needs to be trimmed up. Don't let it get too dry. Obviously don't trim it when it's too moist, and throw it into a sealed area while there's still moisture in your buds, because you will kill a lot of your terpenes, and that's sad.
All right. Reliability. Show up, do the work.
Yep, you just got to do it. You can't have like, a job that you're doing during the week and just not show up for your grow for a week and then go on the weekend and be like, oh, everything's going to be all good, right?
Yeah, you can't. No, you can't do that. So last question before we wrap things up for the regular show here. What is the one piece of advice you want to give to every grower listening right now?
Shit, I had an answer for this one. I'm like kind of spacing on it, but it was a really good one.
You'll think about it as soon as we hang out.
Advice, my grower. Yeah, give me a sec. Smoke a bowl or something. Right.
And this is our last question, so I can't even like skip something and come back.
Yeah, right. I would just. Oh yeah, I remember what it was. Collect data on your grow. Find out what works. Find out what doesn't work. Eliminate what doesn't work, and just continue to do what works for you and your plants. We go back to like, it's whatever your end goal wants to be. So if you want to grow organic, dank, smelly buds, then do that. Don't let anyone tell you to do something else, or just do what you want to do in your grow, and collect the info on it. Make sure it's working. Make sure it's feasible for your goal, and just strive to do what you want to do. If the market's dictating what you're doing, then obviously you're in it just for money. But there's also, other things too. Everyone wants something else out of their grow. So if it's just a hobby for you, then, it's just like your little Zen room, then that's great too. And that's, you get what you need out of it. But just make sure you're on top of it and collect the data on your grow, because that's the most important thing. You could just blindly be going by on your grow, just, oh wow, I did great, and then like half the time people don't even collect like the yield numbers, or strain yields, like how much this strain yields, or what this strain likes to eat, or this, that, and the other. And when you don't collect that info, you're kind of like just wasting your time. You're just there growing, you're not progressing, you're just kind of stuck just growing.
Yeah, you can't you can't manage what you don't measure, and you can't improve what you're not managing. So it starts with measuring and taking notes, and really, tracking what that plant does, and going back to.
It's really hard to do it because, it's just like seeing like your dog grow up. Like, you're there every single day. You don't really notice much. But if you leave for a few days and you come back, like, you really notice how much bigger they got. So what I like to do is take pictures and just go back to them, because there's times where I'm like, oh, well, that grow is so much better than this one. And I'll go back and look at the pictures and I'll be like, well, honestly, like, not really. It's just like my ego talking or something, got to put it in check every once in a while. But, just take pictures, take data, and make sure you're headed in the right direction and not going downhill. Growers, like beginner growers, I feel do really good the first few times, because they buy new equipment and it's clean and it's, brand new, the capacitors aren't like slowly degrading, shit like that. And, as you go down the line, they don't clean their tent thoroughly. Like, that was a big thing for me. I didn't know how serious the cleaning was when I first started. So yeah, I did great my first, couple grows, but then stuff started to go wrong, like it wasn't doing as good. And environment has to do a lot with it, just staying cleanly. So stay clean and stay on top of it.
Awesome. Great last piece of advice there. So, Michael, how can our audience learn more from you, find you, or connect with you if they want to, use your services?
So I'm mostly just on Instagram right now. I'm working on the website and working on other ways to get a hold of me. But my Instagram page is Start2Finish. That's a number 2, and then 710 at the end, I believe. I think it's Start2Finish
That's right.
710.
Yep.
So yeah, you can contact me on there. Right now, I'm basically just taking people's direct messages or whatever, and getting in contact with them through that, and then basically video calls. A lot of people just send me their pictures and questions, and I kind of just help diagnose problems, or give them ideas of what to potentially try. And then it's more, like I said, it's like analytical, like oh, well, try watering more often and see if your plants respond to it. So little things like that is just collecting the info on your grow, and I can help people do that and get them headed in the right direction, and also tell them if they're doing something improper, or give them basically best practices for the industry. Like, this is the best practice, I would probably do that, but if you want to cut corners, you can.
Great. So thanks so much for your time today, Michael.
Of course.
If you like what Michael had to say, or you think you'd get along with Michael, please reach out to Michael Travers at Start2Finish710 on Instagram. So once again, if you enjoyed the show, guys, we really would appreciate you sharing this with a friend. We're just getting going here. So share with a friend. You can subscribe to the podcast or give us a rating and review. That really is going to help us. We're going to be releasing at least one interview a week and lots of different types of content to help you become a better grower. And thanks again, Michael.
Yeah, of course. It's been a pleasure.